First, I'd like to give out a special thanks to Bill Corum's Puyallup Nissan for providing the vehicle in today's video. Without their support, this video would not be possible. They are located off of Highway 167, about 33 miles south of downtown Seattle, or about 9 miles east of downtown Tacoma. Hi, this is John with The Evolving World. Today I'm doing a video on a 2018 Nissan LEAF. This is an SL with the technology package. It's basically a fully loaded vehicle. The color is deep blue pearl with black leather interior with blue stitching. This video will be shot in 3 segments. The first segment will be myself walking around the car, showing you what it looks like from the outside, zooming into some details, anything that stands out to me. I'll kind of show you close-ups of those. Second segment will be from the inside, looking around from the inside, just looking around, pushing buttons, doing all the stuff that you might encounter when you're inside the car. Third segment will be the driving impressions, where I'll take it on the road, drive it. For 2018, there has been numerous improvements made to the car, starting with the exterior styling. As you can see, the car looks quite a bit different than the outgoing model. They managed to change a lot of the sheet metal. However, the car's basic structure is exactly the same as it was before. They went the less expensive route here. They didn't instead of designing a completely new car, they actually just kind of refreshed the existing model. Whether or not this was the best thing or not remains to be seen. I personally would have preferred for the car to be a little bit more kind of like the IDS concept car of 2015. When that car came out, I thought, man, if they made that car and they retained half of what they presented, they would have 200,000 orders easily, pre-orders, They would have a waiting list for people to buy that car. But instead, they kind of went kind of a lesser route. And if you look at this car, you can tell that there are little hints of that design that did carry through, but just tiny little hints of it. So at least the improvements that they made are significant. I mean, they got rid of the stupid headlights. That was one of the ugliest features of the old car, and instead replaced it with sheet metal to accomplish the same effect, which is what they should have did all along. Also, it looks like the stance is a little bit better on the new car too. Like there's not so much gap between the fender and the tires now. And it also looks just generally much more like other Nissan products of the current year. And that's a good thing too, because an EV should just look like every other car on the road. There's no reason for it to be odd and look different. There's absolutely no benefit to that. It just makes it less appealing to people. You can see in the rear there's a little bit more of that IDS kind of influenced design again. Kind of ties it to other Nissan products. Makes it look a little bit more normal, which is a good thing. And that's what I'm talking about. This car would have been an outstanding knockout hit. No doubt whatsoever. I would gladly put down a deposit on a car like this right here. Purpose-built electric car, battery integrated into the chassis, designed to be only an electric car, not a gas car conversion. So unfortunately, the LEAF in its current state as it was before is still based off the Versa, which was originally designed to be a gas car. And of course, this car was designed some 15 years ago now, so the chassis is already getting a little bit long in the tooth. Enough talk about what could have been. Let's get back to reality. The new car now has a significant power upgrade. It's up to 147 horsepower and 236 pounds of torque. That's up from 107 and 187 on the previous version. That's 40 horsepower more and about 49 pounds of torque. The weight of the car is up a little bit due to the bigger battery pack. It's up about 103 pounds, but that's not very much when you consider that you have more power to compensate for it. So 0 to 60 should go down from 10 seconds, probably down to under 9, I would expect. The car now has an EPA range of 151 miles. And yet the 40 kilowatt battery pack takes up no more space than the original car did back in 2011 when it only had 24 kilowatts. I like the design of the door for the charging ports in the front of the car. It's much more integrated. It looks much more natural. The charge rates are exactly the same as they were before. The level 3 is 50 kilowatts, and then the level 2 is up to 6.6 kilowatts, which are good solid numbers for the vehicle, though you do have to keep in mind that it is a bigger battery pack, so it will take longer to charge. Gone is the bio-suede interior that used to be in light gray, or you could get it in black. And in its place is now any color you want, as long as it's black cloth interior, is now the new standard. On the SL, as it's shown, You can get black leather interior with the nice blue stitching and the gray Alcantara trim. Or they added a new color now, so you can now get gray leather interior, which would be my choice. And now for the first time ever, the driver's seat is 8-way power adjustable with lumbar support. Strangely, there's still no power sunroof option. I still don't understand why they don't have this option available, especially on the SL. This is what people would want, I would think. Yes, it would add a few pounds, but I don't think that's really a problem now with the bigger battery pack. This particular car has the optional $230 cargo organizer. This takes up a bit of space in the back there, but it also organizes your stuff depending on how you want to organize your stuff. There's a little bit of a space between the back seats and the front of the organizer. You see there's a gap right there. That's basically because it's designed the same way as they did back in 2011, back when there used to be a hump, and they removed it in 2013. But they never redesigned the cargo organizer. The cargo volume is exactly the same as it was before. The rear seat up, it's 23.6 cubic feet, and with the rear seat down, it's about 30 cubic feet.
One thing about this car is the chassis is basically the same as the old one, so if you're familiar with the 2011 through 2017 Leaf, you'll be familiar with this one as well. Things like the door, you especially see it in the glass and in the door areas. I mean, this is basically identical to the outgoing car. This seems to be an early example here. We have a little bit of a quality control problem here. So this is an SL. It has this nice interior. I like the interior. It's got this either Alcantara or suede insert here with the blue stitching, and they have a gray color, which probably looks pretty nice too. I'm not a big fan of black, but this looks pretty nice though. Perforated. Another thing about the rear seats is apparently this is a fully loaded model, but apparently they nixed the rear heated seats for some reason. So that's one thing that's a demotion, it looks like. Very similar to the outgoing model. You can definitely see it here on the door panels and everything. This looks identical to the 11 through 17 model. They added power seats, which is really nice. Suede inserts here. Blue stitching. Perforated. Yeah, it's the only thing that I could say that's not so impressive after looking at the IDX concept car is that, you know, they basically carried over a lot of this car. That's the thing. You can definitely see it's basically the exact same chassis. They just changed the sheet metal, and the door panels are exactly the same. Windows are exactly the same, because it is basically the same car. It's just different sheet metal. Although they did add all kinds of cool stuff here, though, as far as tech. They really made some nice improvements here on the displays here. This is the fully loaded model, so we have the e-pilot assist, I think is what it's called. We have heated steering wheel, heated front seats. We also have steering assist too. I guess you turn it on. Only available with cruise control on. So I think it's actually separate from the Pro Pilot Assist is what this is called actually, right here. It's a little bit different. So we'll try that out a little later. A lot of this other stuff is very similar to the outgoing model. It's pretty much the same. You turn your fog lights on here, and headlights right here. Wiper control. A lot of it's very familiar. Oh my goodness, listen to that horn. Oh good God. Thought they would have at least corrected that. Okay, so it still has the scooter horn. Yeah, it seems like it's just generally just a evolution of the previous model. I wish they would have changed the chassis as well instead of carrying a lot of stuff over. That's the only thing that really stands out to me as kind of a disappointment. Otherwise, it seems like a nice evolution. Go through some of the menus here. So yeah, instead of having all that cluster of stuff going on there, which I hated about the old car, this has it much more separated now. You can kind of customize the left side here to what you want to actually see, and not all of the old design was so busy and everything. Although I have to admit, I liked the speedometer up high though. I did like that part of it, and that has gone away. And instead we have kind of an e-Golf style analog gauge here. So when I turn the car off, try turning it on here. You see down here we have the charge status, which is nice. It's a lot better than that stupid bar system they had before. I mean, this is much nicer. Tells you 95, tells you exactly the percent, shows you like a graphic depiction there. Not some crazy bar thing that I hated that about the old car. It's supposed to go about 150 miles, and this has 95% charge. I've been driving kind of slow, so you know, as you can see, it's 169 now. Probably because I'm driving kind of slow and everything. As to this compass, which is kind of interesting, that's handy. Actually, that was one thing I liked about, or I missed about the old Leaf. I mean, it was nice that they have this now. They didn't have it before. It really does help when you're just trying to go a general direction and you don't necessarily want to, you know, hit the navigation or anything. You don't necessarily want to, you know, hit that. You may just want to go in a general direction, like if you're generally going north or something, you know, you have that, or south. That's where. So it's nice to have a little compass. That's pretty cool. And then if you want to see what your miles per kilowatts are, that's how you just kind of scroll through the, just push the buttons here, and it kind of goes through all the different settings here. And so this is like, it's very similar to the alt one. Instead of having the bubble system up here like they did before, now they have it like where you can control it down here. So you can kind of see when it's regenning or when you're putting out full power. So if you don't want to look at all that stuff, you can simply just turn it off. If you want to look at audio stations instead, you just do that. Or if you want to look at compass instead, So you can pretty much customize it. A lot more customizing ability. And then when we go into ProPilot here, it will show that information. It also has radar cruise control too, so you can intelligent cruise control. You activate that right here. See if it does anything when I do it. Okay, so here we go. Forward lane keep assist, blind spot warning. That's what the graphics look like. Oh, we'll get to that later on when we drive it. So yeah, overall, just nice improvements. Not totally crazy about this analog gauge. I mean, if it was center, or actually, I really kind of like the digital up here. Anyway, let's see what we got here. Okay. So this is nice. It has a dial too. Like they went back to going like a more conventional dial, which a lot of automakers are doing now. Going back to dials and buttons, you know, which is great in a car. It's a whole lot better than trying to push buttons for up and down volume. It's better just to have a good old-fashioned dial. It's real easy to fine-tune quickly in a moving vehicle. So now has like Android has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I think it's optional though. On this car, this is a fully loaded model, so we have most everything. Some of the stuff is similar to the outgoing model, but then they made a few changes.
Connect to Information Center.
I think that's updating the charging locations. And stop that. Camera. So yeah, this is optional, but to get the surround camera view, you have to get the fully loaded model. So some of these screens, if you're familiar with the previous version, you'll notice that some of these are identical. Energy usage. It's another way to get to audio. You can just push it here too.
It's Mason Ramsey, and it's on her Facebook page right now. Baby.
Destinations by Google. There's actually a lot more stuff going on here. It's like I can't even show you all the stuff that's going on here. There's a lot. They definitely added more content. Down here, this is very similar to what it was before. As a matter of fact, it looks like a direct carryover. You can see locations are now here. A little bit different location than they were before. We're down here on the sides. Oh yeah, and then the key fob, or not the key fob, I mean the on-off button is located here, as before. Before it was here. And gone is that little plug they used to have on the first gen car, which looked kind of tacky, so it's nice that it's more integrated in now. Down here. Similar to before, it has aux in and USB, 12 volt. Of course we have the eco button now, located here, and then we have the E pedal, that's the new thing. So this basically allows you to, it's extended from what the B mode is down here. B mode allows you to regen more, drive a little bit more like a Tesla, whereas the E pedal pretty much takes it to the next level and allows the car to come to a complete stop. It basically brakes like relatively hard. I mean, it's like, so you really don't have to ever touch the brake pedal. It's like you can, so even when you're parked at a light or something, unlike before, you know, if you have to brake at that when you're parked at a light or at a stop sign, if you have E pedal mode in, it will actually just stop the car completely, and you can take your foot off the brake and it will basically, while it's in drive, and it won't go anywhere. It won't creep or anything. It will just stay put. So it's a little bit different experience. And this is very familiar to anyone who has a Gen 1 car. It's basically carryover, which I like, actually. I like how easy it is to, you just put it in drive, off you go. Put it in reverse, off you go. Park. It's really simple. And only the SL has the e-brake, the electric e-brake. So SV and S have just a foot brake. And so yeah, I think that's pretty much the interior. Let's go for a drive. So my driving impressions are kind of mixed. I was just in general, I mean, just being basically a heavily facelifted car. I mean, it was kind of wishful thinking, I think, when they had the IDX concept car. I know when I saw it, I really thought that was going to be the next generation Leaf. I thought they would kind of redesign the whole thing and maybe start from scratch and just do a better, more purpose-built car. And unfortunately, they went the cheap route instead. So, I mean, what this car is it's basically a heavily facelifted car. You know, if you look closely at all the details, the chassis, the windows, the glass area, the door panels, it's very obvious that it's the same car. You know, they didn't really do anything to the chassis. It's the same, it's still based off the Versa. It still has, the trailing beam suspension in the back, cheap suspension, stuff like that. But I mean, it with all that said though, I mean, it wasn't really a terrible car. It was actually a pretty good car, the first gen car. It's just, with the exception of the battery issues, that's really been the only issue. But I imagine that they've corrected that with this model. I mean, this is the 40 kilowatts, so it has really nice range. It's supposed to be about 150 miles, although right now it's showing 168. It just depends on how you drive it, of course. It depends on temperature. Just like all EVs, it's still going to be sensitive to the temperature. Now, another disappointment, not to sound like I hate the car, because I actually like the car very much, but another thing that's a little bit of a disappointment is that they didn't do anything with the batteries. I mean, apparently it's the same batteries that they were using before, they just have higher capacity. So, meaning that they're still air-cooled, there's no liquid cooling, there's no liquid heating, it's still just air-cooled. I believe the next gen, or not the next gen, but the next, when the 60 kilowatt comes in 2019, I believe that they're going to switch battery chemistries in that car. That's my understanding of it. But this particular car still has the same type type of cells as the 2011 through 2017. It just has more denser capacity. They fine-tuned it a bit more. So this has probably been under development for quite some time. So maybe that's one of the reasons why they kept the chassis and everything, but it just seems like, you know, if you want to do a proper EV, next generation EV, you really have to go the Tesla way. You have to do a purpose-built car that's very specific. You know, only the BMW i3 and all of the Teslas are purpose-built cars. You know, where that way you can really fine-tune it. You can get the chassis, the battery integrated into the chassis essentially, and then you have that true, you know, purpose-built vehicle. I mean, it would probably shed off another couple 100 pounds because, you know, you start integrating things in, it all becomes one unit. Although this car has managed, despite it being 40 kilowatts, it's actually only about 3,500 pounds. This fully loaded model has a few more options that brings it up a little over 3,500 pounds, but that's actually only about 100 pounds more than the outgoing model, so that's actually pretty nice. So it didn't really add too much weight. So yeah, overall, I mean, it's basically just a nice evolution of the first gen car. If you're comfortable and happy with that car and you just want a few more options, a few more interesting things like the radar cruise control, the ProPilot Assist, the nice leather interior that they got now, different styling, obviously, much different styling. And also, this factor. It picks up and goes pretty nicely. I think the 0 to 60 time is down to 7 or 7.5, I think is what they're claiming. I don't know about that. It might be more like 8, but it's definitely better than 10. The outgoing model was more like 10. So it definitely has a little more pickup. Still have, as far as ride quality goes, it's basically like the old one. It's basically comfortable family car kind of comfort. It's you know, it's a fun car to drive, not really sporty or anything, but comfortable. You know, more about comfort than it is about sport, which is perfectly fine. I didn't have any complaints about the first gen car. As I mentioned before, not to emphasize negatives, but it does still have the little scooter horn, which is kind of silly. Wish they would have improved that, but there is aftermarket solutions to that, as my videos have shown. So yeah, it drives pretty good. I mean, it's very similar to the outgoing model, as you would expect, since it is basically the same car underneath it all. It's just a reskin. Basically change the sheet metal, change a little bit of the interior a bit, like the console and the dash. The seats definitely feel better too. I don't know if these have been completely changed or not. I mean, this fully loaded car has the power driver's seat, which I think is a first for the Leaf, which I really like. It's very nice, very comfortable, easy to get in a position. Has adjustable lumbar support. Yeah, it's nice. I like the interior too. Although I wish they had lighter color interior. That's another thing. They only have black cloth in the basic cars. The only way to get a lighter interior is to get the fully loaded car like this one, and you can get the gray leather instead of the black leather. So driving the car, you know, we have eco mode, we have B mode, and we have now e-pedal mode. So eco mode just basically dulls down the accelerator, just like it did on the 2011 2017. It's basically a carryover, exact same thing. It just dulls down the acceleration a little bit. Keeps, for people that have a lead foot that need to be tamed down, it kind of tames you down a little bit, softens up the acceleration a bit. And then B mode, as I said before too, it gives a little bit more one-touch braking, or one pedal driving. Increases the regen when you're going down a hill. Whenever you lift off the accelerator, it regens a bit more. It's mostly to do with regen. And then we have the E-pedal. Now if I put an E-pedal, it basically brakes the whole car, so I'm not even touching anything. See that? It's braking right now. I'm not touching anything. And it comes to a complete stop on its own. So like, you don't even have to, there's no creeper at all. You can basically come to a complete stop, never touch the brake pedal. Even when you're at a stop sign, even when you're at a red light, you basically, it just keeps it stopped. It locks it in position. So if you're on a hill, it locks it there. It won't do anything until you step on the accelerator again. So it's kind of an interesting take on one pedal driving. It takes it to a little bit further step. Like Teslas, for example, and i3s, they'll come to a near stop, but they'll still creep as soon as you take, for that last 5 mile per hour, you know, stop from 5 down to 0, you have to push on the brake pedal to get it to stop, and then if you take your foot off the brake, it will creep forward. Whereas this, the E-pedal will just stop it, and that's it. It's dead stop. It's like you're pushing on the brake. So that may be a preference for some, and then, you know, if you don't like that, you can simply turn that off, and it basically it's very easy to change modes on the fly. And if you want to disengage B mode, you just double tap the drive pedal. So it looks like you can use the Pro Pilot Assist even at slower speeds. Like I'm just going 28 miles an hour right now. And it's actually holding the car. It's actually driving. Oh, now it says touch the steering wheel. So it goes red, then it goes back to green. Huh, it's pretty cool. It's actually working. Oh, and it tells you. Yeah, I think they say specifically it's supposed to be for the highway. So like it will go revert back to just active cruise control, which is what it's doing right now. You can adjust your car lengths. There's 3 bars down here, so if you want to be 3 car lengths behind, you have 3 bars. 2 car lengths is 2 cars, and 1 car length is 1 bar. So that means, so you probably want to keep it 3, you know, when you stay a safe distance away from the front of you. Yeah, it's kind of nice. I like it. Steering assist on. So that's one of the nice things about the car. It's got all this new stuff not previously available in the previous car. Okay, so here it is driving on the freeway. Looks like it does actually. Oh, I guess you do have to touch the steering wheel periodically. I believe you have to keep at least a light pressure on the. So yeah, it's kind of a safety. It's not meant to be truly autonomous. It's just meant to kind of assist you. Maybe if you've got some yelling kids in the back seat or something, or some other distractions. You know, if you need to briefly like check something out over here, you know, you can take your eyes off the road, you know, for a few seconds, and then, you know, it'll basically maintain your line. That's definitely nice. I mean, I like to see the autonomous stuff starting to show up. I mean, that was definitely not available in the previous version. So it's nice to see that they've added these features. It's kind of like, you know, you almost want to drive it, but it actually does drive itself pretty good. So if you want to have just the cruise control on, but you want to be able to steer it yourself, like if it's, sometimes it has trouble reading lines, sometimes it will follow the white line. When there's a convergence of another lane, it might follow the wrong lane, or gets a little bit confused. So you can just push a button down here, turn steering assist off. So it still does the active cruise control, it just doesn't, it just turns off that part of it. It's like right here it might get a little confused. If you turn off steering assist, turn it on and off. As the previous version Leaf, we have the 3 bars up here. First bar is 50%, second bar is 75 to 80, and then third is 100. It's a nice way to quickly tell what's going on with the charging. Okay, let's see what happens. So we're on a level 2 here. Charge plug is connected. They also changed that warning screen. I hated that about the first gen car. It had that warning screen that you always had to hit OK. They did away with that, thank goodness. That was really annoying. It's nice that they improved that. I'm sure there's some way to tell what the status is. So anyway, we went on about a 31-mile drive. Started at 95%, I believe. We're at 77, down 137 miles. So it looks pretty good. Well, that's going to do it for my review of a 2018 Nissan Leaf, second generation. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Many more videos to come. Thanks again.